Hi, today we're going to take a look at how to subtract fractions and decimals. Let's start with 2/3 minus a fourth. If I go back to my foldable, which has all the rules in it, I'll see that I have to get like denominators first, because like denominators means that I'm adding equal measurements. Right now, I have thirds and fourths, and those are unequal measurements. I can't add unequal things together. It would be like adding miles and ounces. I have 3 ounces of some water in a cup, and I drove 20 miles this morning. 20 plus 3 is 23. You can't do that. They're not equal. You wouldn't add ounces and miles. It wouldn't make sense. Okay? You have to have the same measurement. So we're going to do a conversion here, just like you would if I was converting feet into inches, to add inches and feet together. Okay? I need the least common multiple of 3 and 4, which would be 12. So I'm going to go ahead and multiply 3 times 4. And whatever I do to my numerator, I do to my denominator. Keep in mind that I'm multiplying 2/3 by 4/4. 4/4 is the same as 1 whole. And 1 whole, anything that you multiply by 1 is just the other number. So I'm actually going to end up with an equivalent fraction, a fraction that's equal to 2/3, which is going to be 8/12. Now, I need to create a fraction with a common denominator here. So 4 times 3 and 1 times 3 is going to give me a denominator of 12 and a numerator of 3. 8 minus 3 is 5. And the answer is 5/12. Take a look at 1/3 minus 3/4. Again, I want to get a common denominator between the two. I have a 3 and a 4 again. So I'm going to multiply by 4 and by 3. And I'm going to multiply my numerator by the same thing I did my denominator by. 1 times 4 is 4. And 3 times 4 is 12. 3 times 3 is 9. And 4 times 3 is 12. So 4/12 minus 9/12. Well, this scenario is going to be a little bit different from this one up here. This one, we ended up with a positive answer. But here, we're subtracting 9 from 4, which is going to give us a negative number. Okay? If you need to, you're welcome to stay switch. Change it to plus and negative. But now I have 4 plus a negative 9, which is negative 5/12. Let's go up here. Negative 3 1/3 minus 2 2/5. All right. We are going to choose one of the 3 different methods that I showed you in the video where you were adding fractions and decimals. You can change these to improper fractions. You can subtract straight across, or you could borrow if you need to from one of your whole numbers. Okay, I'm looking at this. Negative 3 minus 2, that's going to give me more negativity. I know I'm going to end up with a negative. I could switch this if I want to, and I think that would probably be most helpful for many of you, is to, when you have a subtraction sign in the middle, stay, switch, which leaves you with a negative and a negative. So in this case, we'll be adding negatives. Now, before I do anything, I'm going to get my common denominator. Between 3 and 5, I know that that is 15. So 3 times 5, and 1 times 5, 5 times 3, and 2 times 3. Okay, so my new fraction is going to be negative 3 and 5/15 plus a negative 2 and 6/15. All right. In this scenario, I can go straight across since I have 2 negatives. Negative 3 plus a negative 2 is going to give me more negativity, negative 5. And that's my whole number. And then Negative 5 plus a negative 6 is a negative 11 fifteenths. And since it's all negative, that's my answer, negative 5 and 11 fifteenths. If you want to change it to an improper fraction, if that helps you, that's fine. You can do that. All right, let's look at this last one. 2 2/5 minus 3 1/3. Again, I'm going to get like denominators first. 5 times 3. Whatever I do to my denominator, I do to my numerator. 3 times 5. Whatever I do to my denominator, I do to my numerator. And my new fraction is 2 6/15 minus 3 5/15 equals. Now, in this case, again, there's a subtraction sign in the middle. I'm going to stay switch it. I'm adding a negative now. I have 2 6/15 plus a negative 3 5/15. In this scenario, I'm going to go ahead and change these mixed numbers to improper fractions. 15 times 2 is 30, plus 6 is 36 fifteenths, plus a negative. 15 times 3 is 45, plus 5 is 50 fifteenths. And then we're going to add across. 36 plus a negative 50. When you add a positive and a negative, ask which one has more. Is there more positivity or negativity? In this case, there's more negativity. There's 50 negatives and 36 positives. So I know my answer is going to come out to be negative. And then what's the difference between 36 and 50? I'm going to take 36 away from 50, and that leaves me with 14. So my answer is a negative 14 fifteenths. Let's take a look at decimal subtraction. I have a negative 2 35/100 minus a negative 62 4/10. Again, I'm going to use stay switch because I have a subtraction sign in the middle, and a lot of times that makes it easier. In our minds, we have a hard time seeing subtracting a negative is the same as adding a positive. All right, so now I have negative 2 35/100 plus 62 4/10, or plus a positive 62 4/10. So I'm going to use my rules for positive and negative numbers. When you add a positive and a negative, ask which one has more. Is there more positivity or is there more negativity? In this case, there's more positivity. And then you subtract the smaller number from the larger number. I know my answer is going to be a positive. 62 4/10 minus 2 35/100. I know my answer is positive. I'm going to go ahead and put a positive sign down here where my answer is going to go. And now I'm just going to simply subtract. Now remember, in this case, when you add and when you subtract, you have to line up your decimals. You have to line up your place value spot. Tenths need to be together. Ones place needs to be together. Now there's nothing over here in the hundredths place, but there is down here for the bottom number. So this would be just a 0 in the hundredths place because nothing is 0. So 0 minus 5, I can't take 5 from nothing, okay? That'll give me another negative number. In this case, I can borrow. So I'm going to borrow from the tenths. Now I have 3 tenths. And I'm going to take one of those tenths and bring it over here. So 10 minus 5 is 5. And 3 minus 3 is 0. 2 minus 2 is 0. And 6, take away nothing, is 6. So my answer is 60 5/100. Last one. Negative 37 5/10 minus 123 25/100. So again, I'm going to use stay switch. There's a subtraction sign in the middle to help me see better what I'm doing. Now I can see that I'm adding a negative. Negative 37 5/10 plus a negative 123 25/100. So since I'm adding two negatives, I'm just going to line them up. A negative plus a negative I know is a negative. I'm going to go ahead and put my negative sign down here where my answer is going to go. And I'm going to add the two negatives together. Adding two negatives will give you more negativity, so I'm going to have an even larger negative. Okay, 5 plus 0 is 5. 5 plus 2 is 7. 7 plus 3 is 10. 3 plus 2 is 5. Plus 1 is 6. Negative 160 75/100. Okay, now we're at the pause it section. So what I'd like for you to do is to pause the video and try out these three problems, and then hit the pause button again when you're ready to check, and I'll go over it with you. Okay, we have negative 3/7 minus 2/3. I need to get a common denominator. A good common denominator would be 21. So 7 times 3 and 3 times 3. 7 times 3 will give me 21. And my numerator is 9. And then 3 times 7 and 2 times 7, which is 14 21st. Now I have a negative and I'm subtracting a negative. Or excuse me, I'm subtracting a number. So I'm going to, since the subtraction side's in the middle, I'm going to stay, switch. And now I have a negative plus a negative, okay? So I know I'm just simply putting the two together, and I'm going to get an even more negative number, okay? So 9 and 14 is 23. And that's an improper fraction. So right now I have negative 23 21st. And I'm going to go ahead and divide that out and get a mixed number. 23 divided by 21 is 1. And I'm left with 2 21st. Negative 1 and 2 21st would be your answer. Okay? Negative 2 and 5/6 minus 1 and 3/9. Again, a subtraction sign's in the middle. I'm going to stay, switch. And I'm adding two negatives. Okay, 6 and 9 have a common denominator of 18, so we got to start there. 6 times 3, 5 times 3, 9 times 2, 3 times 2. So my new mixed number will be negative 2 and 15 18ths plus a negative 1 and 6 18ths. And altogether, I have 2 and 1 is negative 3. 15 and 6 is 21 18ths. The fraction part of this is improper, though, so I'm going to change just that part into a mixed number. So I have my negative 3, and 21 divided by 18 is 1 with 3 left over out of 18. So now I'm going to add all of this together. Negative 4 and 3 18ths. And in looking at negative 4 and 3 18ths, that can be simplified. 3 and 18 have a common factor of 3. So my final answer is negative 4 and 1/6. Last one. 26 5/10 minus 32 34/100. Again, I'm going to say switch, which gives me a negative and a positive number. And I'm going to ask, which one has more? Is there more negativity or positivity? There's definitely more negativity. I know my answer is going to come out to be a negative. I'm going to go ahead and put the negative sign over here to the side. And when you add a positive and a negative, ask which one has more. There's more negativity, and subtract the smaller number from the larger number. So I'm actually going to take 26 5/10 away from 32 34/100. 32 34/100 minus 26 5/10. Don't forget to line up your decimals and your place value spots. 4 minus nothing is just 4. This is my 10th spot, which is like 10 cents, like a dime. 30 minus 50 I can't do. I'm going to take away from the ones place, which is like $1. I'm going to take 1 away, so I'm left with 1. And I'm going to bring 100 cents over here. So I have 130 cents. Subtract 50 cents, which is 80 cents. Or 13 minus 5 is 8. Now I have 1 minus 6. Well, I can't do that. So I'm going to go over here to my 10. I'm going to take a 10 away from the 30, and I'm going to be left with 20. I'm going to bring that 10 over here. Now I have 11 minus 6, which is 5. And 2 minus 2, which is 0. I know my answer is a negative. So negative 5 84/100 is my answer. I'm going to go ahead and bring that up here.